what on earth is happening with the weather? May 2026 is breaking records, and not the good kind. Let me just cut right to it. No beating around the bush. What's going on with the weather across the United States right now is flat out bizarre. And I don't mean, oh, it's a touch chilly for this time of year bizarre. I mean historically, jaw-droppingly, check the calendar twice cold. For May, we're not talking about a minor blip on the radar. We're talking about one of the coldest stretches relative to normal. Temperatures that this country has witnessed in roughly 3 decades. 3 decades. Let that sink in for a moment. And the kicker? There's no quick exit from this pattern. It's sticking around like an uninvited house guest who raided your fridge and refuses to leave. But, and this is a big but, buried underneath all that gray, gloomy, teeth-chattering cold, there is actually a silver lining worth getting excited about. A whole parade of storm systems is rolling through, one after another, and they are finally taking a serious swing at the brutal drought conditions that have been choking the life out of parts of the East Coast and the Southeast. So today, we're laying out the full picture for you: the cold, the storms, the severe weather risks, and what the forecast models are telling us about the rest of May. Buckle up, because there is a lot to unpack. First, let's put this cold snap into perspective. To really appreciate just how dramatic this weather flip has been, you've got to look back at where we were just a couple of months ago. Cast your mind back to March and April, the 60 days leading up to May. If you pulled up the temperature anomaly map for that period, the entire country was practically glowing orange and red from one coastline to the other. Most of the nation was running somewhere between 3 and 7 degrees above normal across that entire 2-month stretch, with some pockets pushing dangerously close to 10 degrees above average. That's not a warm spell. That's a sustained, relentless, almost aggressive warmth that had people seriously wondering whether summer had decided to show up 2 months early. Spring felt like a formality. Short sleeves in March, barbecues in April. You get the idea. And then May walked in and completely flipped the script. Like, completely. We're talking night and day. Polar opposite. A total meteorological personality change. In just the first 7 days of May, the temperature anomaly map transformed into something that looks like it belongs in a completely different season, and not the fun one. Arctic air has been spilling freely down out of Canada and driving deep into the central and eastern United States, like it owns the place. The northern plains and upper Midwest have been running anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees below normal. That is not a gentle nudge in the other direction. That is a full-scale reversal. We went from one of the warmest spring kickoffs in recent memory straight into conditions that feel like something out of early March. People are pulling out winter coats they'd already stuffed into the back of the wardrobe until October. Frost advisories are popping up in places that should be enjoying mild, pleasant May evenings by now. And here's the part that should really get your attention. The outlook for the next 2 to 3 weeks does not show this pattern easing up in any meaningful way. If anything, models are hinting it could actually tighten as May rolls on. So if you're waiting for a warm-up to rescue you, don't hold your breath just yet. By the way, if you'd like a specific weather forecast for your own region or city, just drop it in the comments below. I'll do my best to get back to you individually. And if this kind of breakdown is useful to you, please do give the video a like and hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps keep this channel going and means I can keep delivering these updates to you every single day. It means the world, honestly. Now, let's keep moving. A bit of good news first. The drought is starting to crack. Before we dive headfirst into the storm systems, let me take a second to share something that's actually good news for a change, because we could all do with some. The drought situation across the Carolinas and Virginia, it's starting to show some improvement. After weeks of watching that drought expand and deepen across the southeast like a slow-moving disaster, a genuinely meaningful soaking of rainfall finally moved through the region. Over an inch of rain fell across a good chunk of that area, and while that alone isn't going to magically solve everything, we absolutely need more, and we need it consistently. It is a real, significant step in the right direction. And as you're about to hear, more rain is very much on the way. A lot more. So for the drought-stricken southeast, the clouds overhead aren't just bringing gloom, they're bringing relief. The storm timeline, the next 10 days are remarkably busy. Let's walk through what's coming, because the next 10 days are genuinely packed with activity. Friday, May 8th. Already, scattered showers and thunderstorms are spreading across the plains, the Midwest, the Deep South, and popping up in isolated spots across the Northeast. Nothing catastrophically severe today, but it's a pretty soggy day for a wide swath of the country. The Storm Prediction Center has flagged a marginal risk, that's level 1 out of 5, for isolated severe weather across the Southeast. So a few feisty storms can't be ruled out. If you've got outdoor plans today, maybe keep one eye on the sky and have a backup plan ready. Saturday, May 9th. Storm activity picks up noticeably. 2 separate marginal risk zones have been identified by the Storm Prediction Center, one draped across the plains, another across the Deep South. For the parched East Coast, this is actually welcome news. At this point, the general attitude has become, if it's not going to be warm, at least let the skies open up and do something about that drought. Fair enough, really. The Gulf Coast, the East Coast, the Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley are all looking at scattered precipitation through the weekend. Sunday, May 10th, Mother's Day. The jet stream takes a sharp nosedive northward into Canada before plunging back down into the central states, dragging a significant amount of precipitation along with it like a wet blanket across the midsection of the country. Thunderstorm potential exists across the plains, the Deep South, and the Ohio Valley. It's not the most explosive, severe weather setup we've encountered recently, but it's another active, unsettled day for a large portion of the country. Maybe plan that Mother's Day brunch indoors, just saying. Monday, May 11th. The East Coast gets hit again. This will actually be the 3rd significant rainfall event for the eastern seaboard within 5 days. 5 days. That is an extraordinary run of wet weather for a region that was desperately bone dry just a month ago. The timing is genuinely significant too. With multiple rainfall events stacking up in rapid succession like this, there's a real opportunity to make a genuine dent in what has been a stubborn, deeply entrenched drought across Virginia, the Carolinas, and the broader Southeast. The skies are working overtime, and the ground is finally getting a much-needed drink, and it doesn't stop there either. Tuesday, May 12th, brings another storm system pushing through the Midwest. Wednesday the 13th sees precipitation returning to the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley. Meanwhile, out west, a notable storm system is developing along a sharply curved jet stream over the Pacific Northwest, and that one's worth keeping an eye on. It's tracking northward into Canada before eventually sending a cold front sliding eastward across the plains and Midwest around the middle of the month. That transition could very well spin up another round of thunderstorms, potentially even some severe weather as it moves through. We'll be watching it closely as the details. Sharpen up. If you're keeping count, and you should be, that's roughly 4 to 5 separate rainfall events for the eastern United States within the span of a single week. A month ago, people were staring at cracked, dusty ground wondering if it was ever going to rain again. Now it's showing up every 2 to 3 days like clockwork. That is a dramatic, almost whiplash-inducing shift in the pattern, and it's genuinely worth appreciating, even if the temperatures attached to all of this leave quite a lot to be desired. The big one, May 16th through 18th, severe weather threat. Now let's talk about the more significant severe weather potential that's emerging around May 16th through the 18th, because the models have been hinting at this for a while, and crucially, they're starting to agree on it, which gives it considerably more credibility than your typical extended-range guesswork. Around Saturday the 16th, an organized low-pressure system is expected to develop over the northern upper Midwest. By Sunday, some pretty dynamic and potentially dangerous setups could be unfolding underneath it across the plains and Midwest. Both the American GFS model and the European model are flagging the same time frame for a larger-scale severe weather threat. Having two of the world's top forecast models point at the same window, 10 to 11 days out, is genuinely meaningful. It doesn't make it a certainty by any stretch of the imagination, but it raises the confidence level well above what you'd normally attach to a forecast that far in advance. We'll be tracking this one daily and keeping you fully updated as it develops. Don't take your eyes off it.